Hello everybody, my name is Derek Sutherland. I'm the Emergency Operations Center Director for the Shuswap Emergency Program's response to the Bush Creek East Fire. I have with me Claire Allen from BC Wildfire, and Claire is going to give us an update today on the current fire situation.
All right, thanks, and thanks for everyone for tuning in here. I'm going to give a general update on the wildfire size and the resources, talk about some of the weather that we're experiencing here, and then I'll talk about some of the operations, so what our folks are doing out on the ground right now. Fire right now is estimated at a little bit over 41,000 hectares in size. As you'll note looking outside your window, today is a very heavy smoke day, which is restricting our ability to fly over the fire and get an accurate update of the perimeter. So please do not rely on the current perimeter to determine any kind of structural impacts. As soon as we get clear skies, we'll be able to get that perimeter updated and get a better size estimate. Currently, we've got 119 wildland firefighters, as well as 49 BC Wildfire Service support staff that are assigned to this incident. It is being managed by an incident management team, which is also handling the Rossmore Lake wildfire south of Kamloops. We've got 17 helicopters, which, as I mentioned, have been unable to fly today just due to the heavy smoke in the area. But as soon as the sky is clear, they'll be able to get up on the ground and support operations. We do also have 62 pieces of heavy equipment responding to the wildfire and 105 structural protection personnel responding to the incident, with 50 pieces of structural protection equipment assigned around the incident. Let's talk about the weather a little bit today. Like I said, very smoky skies. We did have some easterly winds today, which is a bit different than we've been seeing. But thankfully, the high winds that were forecast did not necessarily materialize in the way that we were concerned about. And we do have some scattered precipitation that may be occurring around the fire as we speak right now, as well as through the overnight period. That will continue tomorrow with some cooler temperatures, and as well as continued smoke, which does increase the minimum relative humidity. So we do see some lower fire behavior as a result of that. That should continue through till about Thursday, where we may have an upper ridge building and some rebounding of warmer conditions towards the weekend. To operations, let's talk a little bit about what's occurring on the ground. So I'm going to start with some of the various areas of the fire, recognizing that this is a large geographic area. So for the Little Shuswap area, we do have crews in the Logan Bear Creek area. What they're doing is focusing on establishing guard, mopping up and removing any kind of unburnt fuel that remains along the Logan Bear Creek Road to help bring that fire into a more controlled state there. We do also have machine guard being implemented and crews mopping up along the guard there. On the west and east of Adams Lake area, we do have BC Wildfire Service personnel monitoring properties on both sides of Adams Lake, actively working with Ministry of Transportation and Infrastructure to get the holding bridge repaired and holding road cleared. ETA on this, we're looking at about 4 to 5 days to continue this work, and we are working with the ferry to manage any repairs and maintenance that does need to occur in that area. We do have Intrafor engaged with their strike team, mopping up along the Adams Lake Forest Service Road area, and we've got Danger Tree assessing and falling along the Adams FSR and 5400 Road. Moving over to Little Shuswap Lake, we do have a BC Wildfire Service unit crew that's comprised of anywhere from 20 to 22 people, highly skilled BC Wildfire Service wildland firefighters. They're completing a control line upslope of the structures north of Little Shuswap Lake, and we do have some small scale hand ignitions occurring on the western flank between Logan Bear Creek Road and Little Shuswap Road to prevent any kind of further out of control growth in that area, and ensuring that the fire stays contained upslope of the road at this time. Moving over to Sorrento, we are aware that there's been some increased fire behavior this afternoon in that area. We do have BC Wildfire Service crews engaged with the Sorrento Fire Department, establishing suppression opportunities as they're able to. There's going to be a task force of 3 engines and 2 tenders there, and a BC Wildfire Service initial attack crew will support overnight. We also have crews working in that area to work with CP Rail and ensure that there's no threat to the railway at this time. Moving over to Scotch Creek and Lee Creek, I'm glad to say we do have some additional resources that came in today. So we have 2 additional BC Wildfire Service unit crews that will be working in this area, along with the Solista area. They'll be working in the unburnt fuel upslope of Lee Creek and Scotch Creek along the fire perimeter, and they'll be supported by the structural protection personnel who have been active in the area for the last 2 days. Similar story with the Solista region. We've got the unit crews working there with heavy equipment. They'll be building guard below the fire's edge in Solista and working towards Magna Bay, again, supported by structural protection personnel. In Turtle Valley, we've got an initial attack crew, structural protection task force, and heavy equipment task force working in the area, as well as line locators, and they go ahead of any kind of machine guard to establish containment lines there, working towards the fire perimeter. Lastly, in the North Shuswap area, we do have danger tree assessing and falling along the Anglemont-Squilax Road to Scotch Creek, starting at the Squilax airstrip. And I did just want to mention that the Nisconlith Indian Band has issued an evacuation alert near the Salmon Arm area. This evacuation alert is due to smoke and not due to active wildfire threat in the area. So just want to make that sure to folks that may see that on the map and feel concerned there. I will leave it at that for now. As always, the most up-to-date information is available on bcwildfire.ca under current wildfire situation under the fire name, which is Bush Creek East or K26133. And I'll turn it back over to Derek.
Thanks, Claire. So the CSRD's Emergency Operations Center is actively involved in supporting the firefighting operations and the evacuee supports for those evacuees that had to leave the Sorrento area and the North Shuswap. Currently, our emergency support services teams of volunteers is supporting almost 11,000 evacuees from those areas. So it's we have many volunteers that are donating their time to supporting these people to make sure that they get the hotel rooms, the meals, and the comforts that they need while they're waiting to go back home. It is our top priority to get people back home as soon as they possibly can. We're also actively involved in supporting the firefighting operations. We have four fire departments that are involved in this firefight. We have the Sorrento Fire Department that's working with BC Wildfire teams in the Sorrento area, and we have 3 fire departments in the North Shuswap, the Scotch Creek Department, the Solista Fire Department, and the Anglemont Fire Department. On Friday, the Scotch Creek Fire Department burnt down. By Saturday morning, the fire department was actively engaging fires in the area again through a temporary incident command center, and they had all their apparatus intact. We're quite proud of the members of the Scotch Creek Fire Department, all the fire departments that are engaging with BC Wildfire on this front. We have had issues with people that are choosing to stay and defend in the area. We would ask that all people please evacuate when there is an evacuation order in place. The people who stay and defend need to stay on their property if they choose to stay in the area. If they're off their property, they are interfering with BC Wildfire Operations, and we have had instances of pumps, sprinklers, and hoses and side-by-sides stolen in the area to support their own efforts. So we would ask that this please stop and that people do evacuate when we ask them to. So with that, I'll say goodnight. Thank you.